Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to have a look at the Nifty over there in India and look at some of the trades that have been unfolding today, which is June the 25th. But as usual, we have to start with our risk disclaimer and just remind you that all examples in these videos should be considered as hypothetical. No trades are actually taken, they're just shown for illustration and trading purposes only. Remind you there's a risk of loss in trading and investing. Put another way, all professional traders know and understand, but more importantly accept that losses can and will and do unfold. It's a fact of trading life. No matter what approach you use to trading, there always will be losing trades, and it's important to understand that. Right, let's have a look at the Nifty. This is the Nifty on a 3-minute chart from today, which is the June the 25th. So is MTPredictor a black box system where we simply follow our MTP trend indicator, blue for up, black for in the process of making a reversal, and red for down, or is it something different? Well, it's something different, and the reason for that is markets go through periods of uncertainty. In other words, they go through cycles. There are times, in fact just over half the time, probably more than 50%, just over more than 50% of the time, markets are random. In other words, they are not in a position where you can do any kind of analysis. However, during the other 50% of the time, markets start to become clear. So the question being is, how do we know when markets become clear? Well, for this we look to the higher time frame chart. The higher time frame chart is a time frame between 3 and 5 time frames higher. So if you're on a 3-minute chart, you'd go out to the 15-minute. If you're say on a 15-minute forex, you go out to the hourly. If you're on daily stocks, you go out to the weekly. So it's the logical time frame between 3 and 5 time frames higher. So how do we use this? Well, we're looking for our DP support and resistance zones. So for this we use prior pivots. One of the prior pivots we use, and this is what we teach in our MTPredictor training webinars, is the last swing into the high or low. Now you can see if I zoom out, this was the last major low on the 15-minute Nifty. So this is the last swing down to the low. Should go back to this pivot high, right mouse click and do decision point. That would have given you an area of resistance. But can you see how yesterday the market went up? It went up and tagged this area of resistance and then made a meaningful reversal. In other words, the market started to decline off this higher time frame or 15-minute resistance. Also put a DP off this high here, and you can see it's in the same area as well. But this is the most important one. It's the last swing into the low. So what does this mean on our shorter time frame chart? Well, it means that because the market has actually made a meaningful reversal at this higher time frame DP resistance. You can see there it is. The large degree trend would now be deemed to be down. As it's down, we'd then be looking for sell setups. This then coincides with our MTP trend being red. So in other words, the two things were basically in sync. In other words, the picture's clear. So if we now are looking for short trades, we'd then be looking for this particular sell setup here as a valid sell setup. So let's right mouse click over the red sell bar. Let's do analysis. This would have been your first trade down into the first target there for a nice 5.8 hour profit. Remember, we use position sizing. In this case, less than 2% of a sample rupee account there. Remember, you can actually change the size of your account. There's a slightly smaller account there if you wish, or a slightly larger account, which I've set up there. So you can define your risk parameters and also your account size as well. That will then calculate the number of contracts, in this case, to go short. So that would have been a nice trade. The next one, if I clear everything off, there was a TS2 sell there. Right mouse click over the red sell bar. That would have been also a nice trade down into the first target. There was also a VS sell set up here. If I right mouse click there, that would have also been a nice trade of approximately 3.5 hour profit down to that low there as well. Or maybe you may well have wanted to hold short all day. Why? Because this is the last swing into the high. This is the last swing into the high. So just like we did on the 15-minute chart, we go back to this pivot low, right mouse click, do DP. This would be an area of potential support. So the large degree trend pretty much all day would have been down into this large degree support zone. So if you're short off this first TS1 sell there, the more experienced users may well have wanted to hold it down into that support zone. Obviously didn't make it, would have been stopped out or closed the trade out just around about just short of 10-hour profit, just short of the close, in around there somewhere. So that might well have just been one trade all the way down. A bit scary, as you'd have watched the market go back up here, but of course this went back up to the DP off that prior last swing down to that low, where it made the reverse and came back down as well. So depending on how you wanted to trade that, you would have either had a nice long trade there, or had a number of short trades, each producing a nice profitable trade there. So it was a good day for MTPredictor's users over there in India who are trading the Nifty, particularly as the large degree trend was clear. And that's what we look to do. We don't just trade all the time, we look to trade when the picture's clear, and in this case the picture was nicely clear because the market went up into that 15-minute DP resistance. That defined the large degree trend as down. Once the large degree trend was down, that coincided with our MTP trend color. In other words, everything was coming together to give a nice clear picture. So therefore you can deem that the market is not random at this particular point in time. It's in a clear tradable position, and as such you will be wanting to look to take trades on the short side. So as you can see, a good day for MTPredictor on the Nifty, which was today, June the 25th.